Welcome back, Math 85. Today we're still on section 4.2, and now we're talking about multiplying fractions. So first I'll give you the method and then draw you a picture to show you why this works. The method is if you have two fractions, a over b times c over d, to multiply those together, multiply numerators, multiply denominators. So a times c over b times d. Now, here's a model for why it works. This is a picture of the fraction 3/4. Three pieces shaded out of 4 equal sized pieces. Let's do a half times 3/4. So let's take a half of this fraction 3/4. I'm going to chop it in half. I'm going to heavily shade in half of the shaded region. So now what do I have altogether? I've got 3 pieces shaded now out of 8 equal sized pieces. So if you notice, these numbers are related to these numbers by multiplication. 1 times 3 is 3, 2 times 4 is 8. All right, let's see how this works in another example. And I'm going to do this example in 2 ways. 5/8 times 2/3. So let's first multiply the numerators and denominators. So 5 times 2 is my new numerator, and 8 times 3 is my new denominator. 5 times 2 is 10, 8 times 3 is 24. But now you notice, oh, this fraction is not reduced. I should factor these two numbers to see if they've got any factors in common. So what factors do 10 and 24 have in common? 2. 10 is 2 times 5. And 24 is 2 times 12. There's that factor of 2 common to both top and bottom. So divide by 2, divide by 2. I'm left with 5/12. This is not very efficient because I multiply everything together first, and then I end up having to factor it again later. So, or I will reduce before multiplying. So you see here like the 2 in the numerator of this fraction and the 8 in the denominator of this fraction, they're going to have something in common, namely that factor of 2. So we might as well factor that first. So let's go ahead and write these numbers indicating their common factors. So I've got 5 times 2 for my numerator, and 8 could be written as 2 times 4, and then there's the times 3. Identify the common factors of 2, divide by 2, divide by 2, and let's see what I have left. 5 in the numerator, 4 times 3 is 12 in the denominator. So either way I get to the same answer, but this way was a little bit quicker. So reduce those fractions before you go ahead and actually multiply the things together. All right, let's do another example. Let's multiply and simplify negative 14/15 times 20 over 21. All right, so first of all, notice this is a negative number times a positive number. So the result should be negative. I'll just write that negative sign out front. And 14 over 15 times 20 over 21. So that'll give me a 14 times 20 over 15 times 21. Now I'm going to see if there's factors that these numbers might all have in common. I see 14 and 21. They're going to have a factor of 7 in common. So I should write that 14 as 2 times 7. And the 21, I'll write that one as 3 times 7. And 20 and 15 have a factor of 5 in common. So I'll write 20 as 4 times 5 and 15 as 3 times 5. And these things are all being multiplied together. So now let me find those common factors. Divide by 7, divide by 7. Divide by 5, divide by 5. And is there anything left in common? So the answer is no. So I'll go ahead and now, after I've reduced, now I'll multiply everything together. 2 times 4 is 8. And 3 times 3 is 9. So there's my answer. I just want to show you one other method that people like to use when they're multiplying fractions to simplify as they go. Let me just rewrite what I've got here. Negative 14 times 20 over 15 times 21. Okay, so usually the 14 over 15 might already be reduced, and the 20 over 21 is already reduced. So the factors that might have something in common usually are in this type of position. Like 14 and 21 might have something in common, 15 and 20. So let's look at the 14 and 21. I recognize that they've got a factor of 7 in common. So 14 divided by 7 is 2. And 21 divided by 7 is 3. Also here with the 15 and the 20, they've got a factor of 5 in common. 15 divided by 5 is 3. 20 divided by 5 is 4. So it's just one method that people like to use to reduce these fractions. Now let's see what I have left. 2 times 4 is 8. And 3 times 3 is 9. So you can choose which one of these methods you like better. All right, let's do one more example. This is example 4.28 in your book. The fraction 1/7 times 56. This one looks strange because 56 is a whole number. It's not written as a fraction. But any fraction you can turn into a whole number by putting it over denominator 1. So this is really 1/7 times 56 over 1. So let's rewrite what we've got here. I've got 1 times 56 in the numerator and 7 times 1 in the denominator. Oh, those ones, I didn't even have to write those. And look, 56 and 7. 7 actually divides into 56. This is really 56 divided by 7. What is 56 divided by 7? It's 8. And it's reduced all the way. If you had used our previous methods with this example is a little bit easier because, again, 56 divided by 7. But if you had used our previous methods, you would notice that there's a factor of 7 in 56. So divide by 7, this becomes 8. Divide by 7, this becomes a 1. 1 times 8 is 8 in the numerator, and 1 times 1 is a 1 in the denominator. And 8 over 1 is just 8. All right, one more example. 12/5 times negative 20x. First thing to notice, positive times negative, my result will be negative, so I'll put that out front. The other thing to notice is that there's no denominator here, so we kind of force there to be a denominator by putting the whole thing over 1. All right, let's go ahead and rewrite everything now. I've got 12 times 20x over 5, and I'm not going to write the times 1. And now I'll see if there's any factors common to the numerator and denominator. Indeed, 5 does go into 20. How many times does 5 go into 20? 4 times, right? So 5 divided by 5 is 1. 20 divided by 5 is 4. You could write the 1 there if you want. All right, so now let's see what I've got. Negative 12 times 4 is 48. Don't forget the times x. And then in my denominator here, everything's crossed out. So there's a 1. And then you're not going to leave it in this form because it's not simplified. 48x over 1 is just 48x. So my answer is negative 48x. All right. Have fun with your homework.